Hello and welcome to Liberty Mutual and Safeco Insurance's video panel. I'm Kathy Straub. I'm a program manager and project manager here on the team, on the agency capabilities and programs team. But really, in short, what I am, who I am, I'm a marketing coach. So today I'm excited to be here chatting with you and a group of single owner operator independent agent rock stars to really talk about a day in the life. What's it like to be them? So joining us, we've got Casey Ricart. She's got an agency located in Dallas, Texas. We have Narissa Berry, located in Oklahoma City area. And then Michael Singh, who is located in Florida. So welcome, welcome everybody.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited that you're here. But before we jump in, I've got a couple questions because I want our audience to get to know more about you as individuals. So I got a couple questions for you. Everybody ready?
Ready.
All right, Michael, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Tell us, how long have you been in the insurance industry? I already said you're located in Florida, but tell us a little bit about you, your agency, and how you got started. What's your story?
Sure, yeah. So I've been in the insurance business for about 9 years. When I first got into the business, I was recruited in the life insurance business, then got introduced to the P&C side of things. I worked for a couple of different captive agencies before. And then decided to open up a completely independent insurance agency. Did I miss a question?
No, that was the first question. The second question I have for you, though, I do have a second one. So the second one is, if we were to make a movie about your life, who would you cast to be the lead actor in that movie?
I don't know. I kind of gravitate towards. You mean like somebody in this group, or just like an
actor? Yeah, like an actor. Yeah. Who would you pick to play you?
Probably go with Denzel Washington. Is one of my favorite actors of all time. Love Denzel. Any movie that he has, I pretty much watch all of his movies all the time. That's like me. So I'd go with Denzel Washington.
Love it. Awesome. Yep. I love him. I love him too. Training Day. I love that movie. It's very intense, but I do love that movie.
It's
That's
a good
movie. Yeah. All right. Okay, Narissa, on to you. So the same first question. Give us, 30-second, a minute history. Tell us how long you've been in the insurance industry, how you got started, why you got started.
I've been in the insurance industry just like Michael. I started in life insurance about 20 years ago, so I'm aging myself. So about 20 years ago, I got started in life insurance, and then 10 years ago, I was a captive agent. So I had a captive agency for almost 10 years, and then I became an independent agency owner. I just hit my 1-year mark just the end of August.
Nice, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah,
love the transition to being an independent agency owner. So, yeah.
Well, hang on to that. I got some questions about that one.
Okay.
But my question for you is that if you had to sing karaoke, what song would you sing and why?
Ooh, okay. It would probably be Gold Digger. And let me tell you why. That's rap, but okay, so backstory. So about 15 years ago, I did this little mini tour, taking the background singer's place for Kanye West. And we were actually on tour with the Rolling Stones, and I did 3 dates. And so Gold Digger was when I was out in the rain, in Canada. And so that just reminds me of that.
Nice.
If I had to do that, I would do that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Quite the experience.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bucket list.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Ms. Casey. Same question for you. Tell us a little bit about your agency, how you got started, and why you got started.
Sure. So I opened my agency from scratch back in 2014. So my baby is turning 6 here on October 1st, which is super exciting. Safeco was my first direct appointment. So prior to that, I had 0 insurance experience. I'd been in sales for a number of years. Prior to that, in fashion. So I knew I had the guts to do it. Luckily, my family kind of has insurance running in the blood. My dad's a captive agent 40 years, grandfather retired 40 years with same captive company as well. So once you get exposed to it, you kind of just can't get out of it, I think. So, but fun fact, my first insurance policy I ever sold was in my own agency. So I literally had no experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If anything, when I opened. So I have a little self-confidence maybe, so, you know.
Yeah, no, good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's fantastic. So my question for you then is, what is your most used emoji and why?
Definitely the thumbs up emoji.
Yes. Yeah.
I think everyone who is in this business can agree you're typically on the phone from sun up until sundown. So the last thing I want to do is usually be on the phone. So I am quite a texter when I'm not working with clients, family members, everything else. Call me, I won't answer text, you'll get an immediate response.
Yeah.
So unless you're a client, right? So
right.
definitely the thumbs up for me is a quick and easy, you know, cut to the chase type of response, and it works for almost anything. So.
Yep. No, for sure. And I think, I mean, that question, I think it depends on who the text is. You know,
totally.
if it's one of my best friends, the emoji might be completely different than if it's a client or a colleague, right? So
very true. Very true.
Yeah, no, I got you. I hear you. Well, cool. Well, thank you. So again, welcome. I think this is awesome to be here. You guys are each single owner operators, right? So, Marissa, walk me through your agency structure. Do you have any outside help whatsoever? Any virtual assistants, any vendors that you partner with? Kind of walk me through your agency structure and what a day in the life of being Marissa is like.
Yeah, so I actually do have 2 CSRs, thank God, that I pulled over with me when I became an independent agent. I would not have been able to do it at all without them. The transition would have been terrible if I had not had that assistance. But as far as apps that I use, you know, Casey talked about texting a lot. One of my lifesavers is ZipWhip. I don't know if you guys have that. It's a texting app. Have you guys heard of that before?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Michael, it will change your life. So, like, we use ZipWhip, and it only cost me $60 a month to have it. We use it for customer service purposes. We use it for billing purposes. We use it for marketing purposes, because a lot of times people don't pick up the phone or they don't read their emails. Like, literally, if I text a client and say, I'm working on a quote for you, or I received your number from so-and-so, you know, it's just a good time to contact you, they respond back immediately. And so that has saved me a ton of time chasing leads or chasing referrals, whereas previously I might not have been able to get in touch with people because, like I said, people do not answer the phone or read emails most days. So I come in the morning, check emails that I have, and then, you know, line out my day. I typically try to do that the night before on people that I need to contact for today. And I try to stick to that schedule as much as possible, because people are waiting. You know, being one person that's basically, you know, writing all the business, I have to stay as organized as possible, because when people are shopping, you know, they're wanting an answer really quickly, and I don't want to lose those opportunities.
Yeah. So that's
and
really
easy links too for my management system.
Learning how
to use that.
Yeah. Those are always a fun challenge, aren't they? Yeah. Casey, what about you? How do you stay organized then? You know, as a one person show, you know, how do you stay organized and keep your day-to-day running?
Yeah, so I really when I started my agency, I really started with the mindset of trying to be as tech forward as possible. I think technology can't replace people, but there are certainly action items and ways to scale efficiently and utilizing, you know, automation tools that are out there. So I use a lot of various technology tools to really, you know, kind of get some manpower back, if you will, by utilizing those systems and tools. So I use all different types of cloud-based platforms in addition to Easy Links Rating, and then also I use QQ Catalyst as my AMS, which has some texting capability. And then I did a lot of research, and it's an ongoing process, in making sure you're using the right tools and you're staying up to date, but really utilizing, things like Trello for team collaboration. I do have one virtual assistant. I brought him on back in January, who is fantastic. So he gets my quotes ready and kind of does the pre-research for me, so that he took that off my plate. He does a lot of the other kind of service stuff that he's able to do. So it's really been super helpful, but having someone else, having that team collaboration tool, I personally use Trello. And then we use a lot of Slack and Zoom, and then, other tools. But time management certainly is key, in my opinion. And I like to use a scheduler to schedule appointments with my clients, with really anyone. And my clients now know if they want a piece of my time, all they have to do is log in and pick what works for best for them, and it's reserved for them, and I'm ready for them. Because one of my biggest pet peeves about being an insurance agent is getting blindsided by a billing question or random, I had this potential claim pop up. I like to be prepared and not in the midst of something else. So I have a really strong policy against kind of multitasking, because I think when you multitask, you're definitely shifting effort from one client to another, and I think every client deserves their own bucket of time. So I really try and make sure whoever I'm working with at that point in time is who gets my attention, so they can schedule that attention by getting on my scheduler. So that's been super helpful. And then for my VA, I track all of his time using a tool called Rescue Time, and it actually logs where he's spending his time, whether it's in Easy Links, whether it's in Trello, in Slack, on carrier quoting sites, so I can really pinpoint where the slow points are, and I can really make sure we're being as efficient and getting that forward and working through those problems together to get it as streamlined as possible.
So let's talk about that scheduler tool. What are you using? Sure. Are you using like Acuity?
And it is Acuity.
Acuity, okay.
Acuity. I've been using that for several years now, and I really, really enjoy it. And it's very helpful for me, and not only does it allow clients to schedule, but it allows me to really manage my schedule as well, because I only really, on the back end, you can actually pick and choose when they're picking particular appointment types.
Yep.
So for example, I only discuss renewals on Tuesdays and Thursdays, no other day. So they schedule on a Tuesday or a Thursday, because that way I'm in back-to-back renewal mindset that day, and it's efficient. If I'm jumping from a new quote to a renewal to a networking appointment to here and there and everywhere, I can't be efficient. So every day has kind of a specific task. It gets steamrolled sometimes by other things, but I try and stick to that to maintain efficiency.
Gotcha. What was the catalyst that really drove you to really put the processes and workflows in place to drive that efficiency? Was it just lessons learned over time? Was it you went in with a mindset and started from the beginning? What was it that drove that?
So I worked in the beginning when I first started my agency with a processes and efficiency coach, a form of a business coach. She's a phenomenal, I mean, her life is in order all the time, no matter what, no matter when you catch her. It's so amazing. And so one day I was just like, hey, let's chat and let's go through this, because I think there's some room for improvement. So I really started the process with documenting from start to finish everything I do in a day, either to close new business from the first phone call or contact all the way through the point of sale. I timed every single activity. And then I did the same thing for renewal business. And I found there was a lot of wasted time. I'd asked me prior, how much time do you spend on a new business quote? I'd probably tell you, 20 minutes. But when you logged it all up, it was closer to 2 hours when you're going through the entire process. So when you really put pen to paper and you time yourself, you can start to see where you really are, hiding some secrets as far as where you're spending some time, so that you can kind of try and do what you can to utilize tools that'll push it forward.
Absolutely. So Michael, tell us about your agency. How do you stay on top of everything that needs to be done as a one-person show?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. It's not an easy task. I think where I'm at in my business now. It's kind of, I'm at a tipping point because I'm getting so many things. Some of the things that Casey talked about and Nurse are talking about kind of resonate with me as far as time blocking. Casey, I think you're talking about time blocking when you're saying Tuesday and Thursday is only for renewals. And then when you're getting pulled in different places, that's kind of what's happening to me at the moment. It's where, you know, you're focusing your efforts on one thing, but then you're constantly getting pulled. So as far as the tools that I'm using, I think that was one of the questions that you were asking.
Yep.
I'm kind of with Casey on this as well, as far as using technologies. For example, I use an AI scheduler. It's been phenomenal scheduling people out, whether it's meeting them, you know, one-to-ones or Zoom meetings. That's been great for me. Putting everything on the schedule is a must. I have a big push for website technologies also, as far as getting a big push of getting people onto the website, making the quoting process a little bit easier. There was a company that approached me the other day by the name of Xilo, Xilo. I don't know if you guys have heard of that company before, but
Yeah.
I saw what they were doing, and I got, I also work with EasyLinks as well. EasyLinks, has their goods and bads in that regards as far as what you can do. So without saying too much about that, just focusing my efforts on just driving traffic to there, and then also focusing the efforts on social media. Like I have a social media manager who does different things on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and all these different things, and then implementing videos. Casey, I actually saw your Instagram. You do a really good job on the social media stuff. So even I saw it before I even knew that you were on that. So you're doing a good job. It's great. I've seen like the renewal. I've seen just a lot of different things that you've been doing social media wise. And I think there's where a lot of my efforts have been focused and shifted as well on social media, and then also trying to get a video presence on there as far as creating more videos on different topics and things of that nature. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as like being organized. Just a calendar, that AI tool that I talked about. But I'm finding myself now falling behind where I was looking at a VA. I know Casey and the rest of you guys both talked about VAs. I don't have any experience with the VA, but I'm also in the process of hiring a customer service rep. Right now, it's just myself, and I'm just overwhelmed with growth in business. It's a good challenge to have, but like I said, I'm at the tipping point now as to what am I going to do? What systems am I going to put in place to move forward? So that's where I'm at right now.
How do you find time to do your marketing, and what marketing strategies, what tactics do you take to drive marketing for your agency? Michael, you go first.
Sure. So, right now, I guess one of the main things for me, I've joined a BNI group, and in that BNI group, we have a Facebook chat, and where I'm at in my particular geographical area, there's about 27,000 people in that group chat. And it's about, it's like a forum almost. People are asking for, I need insurance services, or I need a pest control company. But I have about, every time somebody asks for insurance, I have about like 15, 20 people blowing me up. I cannot tell you how much business that's been bringing to me, social media, the website, and all that stuff. I'm very strong with building relationships with mortgage companies as far as the loan originators and things of that nature. I'm getting a ton of business from them. But really, I've been getting majority of my business from referral business, and it's been exploded over Facebook, and then from the social media. I can't keep up with all of the business that's coming in, and now I'm getting a lot more requests on because I'm also fairly new in business. My 2-year mark would be in February of this year coming. So about a year, a little bit more than a year and a half. In the beginning, when you're starting to do your SEO and starting to kind of build that, you're not really getting that much traffic. You're not really listing as high as you want to on Google. So all those things, I've been implementing, and I've been doing really good. And I've seen that the website is now gaining so much traction that now I'm getting, almost 5 to 6 leads on my website per day now, where I wasn't getting anything before. So that's happening. The Facebook is happening, and then my referral base is happening. So those are where the leads are coming from now. I used to be the person cold calling 500 people a day. Hey, you need to get this insurance from me. I wasn't scared of the phone at all. But where I'm at today is a very different area, and I kind of need to do what Casey is doing as far as breaking up my time and time blocking to figure out, this is for renewal, this is for new business. She mentioned 20 minutes for a new quote, but I mean, if you have someone that has 10 properties, they have a commercial risk, I mean, that's going to take way more than 2 hours. You're probably looking at, you know, 3, 4, 5 hours, maybe a couple of days before you can actually get everything in order, you know. And then you have the follow-up process, like the underwriting process. So it is, you know, might be even more than that, you know, depending on what it is. But yeah.
Okay. So Narissa, how about you? Same question for you. Marketing. How do you find time and what do you do for marketing? How do you build new business?
Yeah, finding time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I have historically, I've been at a lot of community events. I like to be in the community. So COVID obviously has stopped a lot of that, because I would, you know, typically I would have had, you know, 10 events through the summer that I actually have to, you know, that I actually attend, and then sponsorships and stuff like that. So those are things I had done historically. But now I haven't been able to do that. So now what I do is a lot of Facebook marketing. I'm in several groups. I have realtors and mortgage people that I've also have relationships with that send me business consistently. And so really those, like with Michael, the Facebook groups that I'm a part of specifically, I really do get a lot of tags on those and following up on those as well. Like Michael and Casey, it's really hard for me to sometimes keep up with all the business that's coming in. I really was nervous, you know, when COVID happened, thinking that, you know, possibly, you know, what's going to happen with my business, because it's new. You know, I was August of 2019, and then COVID happened March of 2020. So I was very nervous. So I was still coming into the office every day, even when we weren't supposed. But insurance was essential, so that saved my business, and so I was able to just continually come in every day. And so just the referrals have been great and taking the place of what I was missing on all of the community events that I typically do.
Nice. Yeah. So tell me more about the Facebook. Are they specific Facebook groups? Are they business association groups? Tell me a little bit more about those.
All of that. So there's several groups. There are mom groups, there are ethnic groups. I'm also a part of several chambers as well, that also I'm able to get business from also. But the Facebook groups right now, they've really been very active lately. Very lately. Yeah. Okay. And so somebody just kind of poses a question, then you come in and answer it, or is that how it works? You know, looking for home insurance or auto insurance, and then I mean my tribe, like they really go in and they're putting my name on everything, and then of course I'm answering those questions, and then I'm like Casey, I'm lucky to have someone to actually put those quotes in the system for me. And look them over, and then I can, you know, contact, because that takes a lot of time. You know? And so then one other thing that I've just started doing, because now I'm at my 1 year away from being captive, so my non-compete is over.
Exactly. Oh, there you go. Woohoo. Yeah.
So of course I printed all of my clients. So I just started this week sending out postcards. So I've had phone calls coming in from that now too. So hopefully crossing the fingers on that.
No kidding. No kidding.
The time frame was like, it's almost a year. It's almost a year.
Yep. Nope. Now's the time. Turn it on. Yeah, exactly. That's fantastic. Yeah. So Casey, same question for you. Marketing. What's your strategy?
Yeah, so I think it changes with time as your, you know, business matures. In the beginning, it was just like whatever networking group I could attend and whoever I could talk to, you know, and that was great, and that was somewhere to start. But I quickly kind of started to pinpoint what was really fruitful and what was maybe not as fruitful. So really kind of ruling out some of those groups that didn't maybe serve me as well as far as a lead component goes. So I started from day one tracking every single source as far as where every single policy, prospect, customer came from. Customers for life. way back in the day that I attended literally like in March, right after I opened my business. It was perfect timing, but I tracked every single lead, and that has really served me well. And I use data to drive my marketing and my networking efforts. So I am consistently pulling reports to see what mortgage lenders are sending me the most, but also which ones convert, which ones have a higher propensity to have multi-policies versus just one home policy done. They don't want to talk about auto or anything else, and then maybe they fall off after a year. Who is a really good networking partner that kind of sets me up or tees me up, if you will, for success to lead to a really trusted lifelong relationship that has a really high retention ratio. So I really drive my agency solely based off numbers as much as I can, pulling all of the AMS data that I can through QQ and also Easy Links. But I think, you know, in insurance, we have all of this data, more than a lot of industries out there. We have all of this data at our fingertips.
Data's king, right?
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think also making sure that you network wisely. I recently, not super recently, but I give out the book often. So if you guys haven't ever read, for anybody out there who likes to read, The Go Giver by Bob Berg, I keep it on desk at all times because it is an amazing tool. And I love that it's the go giver, because I think a lot of us, especially in sales, want to be the go getter. But sometimes what the go getter gets you is constantly giving out, and not paying attention to maybe what's coming back to you. And then it really should be a two-way street. And that's what the book is kind of all about. So really choosing wisely who you network with. And one thing I started doing about 2 years ago that has really served me well is making sure that I'm constantly kind of delivering really deliberate introductions between people that I know within my network without any prompt. So if I speak to someone, I might say, hey, I know so-and-so, they're amazing, you need to meet them. They're also, you know, the king of what they do, and you need to meet her because she's amazing. Y'all would do, you know, great things together. So just making sure I stay in front of people, not in the sense of always asking for business or referrals, which I prefer not to do, but instead of getting it, and then it, you know, tends to come back when you maintain those solid relationships.
Oh, totally, 100%. You're that trusted individual, so not just for insurance, just like, oh, you know, yeah. So, but that book, so it's called The Go Giver.
The Go Giver by Bob Berg. And a second author as well. Yes, and okay. John David Mann, M-A-N-N, The Go Giver. It's fantastic. Okay. My sweet father, who's a 40-year agent, actually gave it to me for Christmas and wrote an inscription and was like, you need to read this. And I really have loved it. I keep extra copies on my desk and I give them out to folks that I feel are really awesome, that really kind of could benefit from it, and people like that. So.
Right. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay, I'm going to have to get that book. When we hang up, I'm going to order it on Amazon. If you were to go back, what would you tell yourself to do differently?
Wow, that is a loaded question. I think I would totally take Casey's advice and really be more intentional about being specific about how I use my time. I think one thing that I think I fell into a trap about from being captive and being independent. When I first was a captive agent, you know, I spent tons of time just quoting everybody that was breathing, you know, just to get, you know, business in the door. And you would think, you know, owning a captive agency for 9.5 years, that I would not have fallen into that same trap when I started my independent agency. And so I think for whatever reason, it felt like starting, even though I was, but I wasn't, because I came into it with knowledge. So I wasn't just starting from scratch, because, you know, I had the knowledge of being an insurance agency owner, but with me going independent, I kind of felt like the new kid again, even though really I wasn't the new kid, but it felt like I was the new kid. Yeah. And so I don't know if other people who come from being captive to being independent, because I was captive for a long time, you know, 9.5 years is a long time. And so do you feel brand new again? I felt brand new all over again.
Well, it's completely different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you're captive, you're kind of handed things, whereas when you're independent,
Yeah.
you're figuring it out on your own, right?
Yeah, I just totally, nothing against being captive because it was amazing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really totally thought that was the bee's knees. Like,
yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
best thing
Yeah.
since sliced bread. And so,
Yeah.
but now I realize, you know, one of my realtor partners, she said, when I became independent, I said, well, I'm no longer captive. And she said, well, that sounded god awful. Like, why would you have done?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's all about perspective, because I never, ever saw that as being god awful. Not that it was,
Right.
because I was having a great time making a lot of money, but
yeah,
it was. So I was like, so it's about about my perspective. And so I really had to like do some heavy shifting these last several months to become more intentional, to become more organized. And it's really hard to swing a boat that's already going really fast, you know, because when I started my independent agency, it was just like a floodgate opened. And so then it was just the whole kind of disorganized, and then just trying to shift that had been really challenging to make sure that things are correct through COVID at that.
yeah.
So,
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah, that's what I would say, be more intentional.
Okay. Casey, how about you? If you were to go back 6 years?
I think I would tell myself that it's super important to remember why you started this business in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I started this business to help people, to educate people. I started it to have financial freedom and freedom of my own time. I didn't want PTO to be approved. I didn't want to be told yes or no when I had a great idea. And so for me, it's all about maintaining those initial core values of why I started my business, being freedom and helping others. And the freedom component can be tough in the beginning because you're just working. It took me a while to really let go of me wanting to do it all myself, to control it, because I know I'll do it A++, and that's how I want it, and my name's on the door, period. And what my VA has really taught me through great training, me being patient with him, is that he also wants to deliver fantastic service. And I wish I wouldn't have waited so long to bring on someone to help, because I think I could have pushed my business a lot further sooner had I really, really kind of, as Michael said, you know, hitting that tipping point, paying attention to when it's appropriate to bring someone on. And, you know, the volume's got to be there so that, you know, it can support the salary or the contract fee or whatever you're doing. But I think, you know, now in my business, I try and remind myself a lot, and I'm doing much, much better at it, but I try not let my clients or my inbox determine my day, you know, and really kind of keep in mind what's important to me. If it's Pilates and yoga in the morning, then I get up as early as I need to so that I can maintain my mental, my physical health, start my day off strong. But sometimes in this business, it's hard to remember that their emergency may not be your emergency.
Exactly.
And really trying to you maintain that. And you're there for them. And yes, I jump on it when I need to jump on it. But, you know, sometimes it's important to not let their, you know, lack of planning throw up an entire quote that you're currently working on for a very important client because they're at the dealership and they forgot to give you a heads up. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Managing
That never happens, does it?
Really important. Oh, yeah.
All right, Michael, same question. Looking back 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that Casey talked about and Narissa talked about, more so Casey, I mean, all the stuff that you just talked about, I agree with. You know, as far as where I'm at today, I would hire somebody a lot sooner than what I always wanted to, but you mentioned something about not having, you know, you have to have, you know, revenue coming in to be able to justify what you're paying, whether it's salary or whatever it is that you're doing. So I'm finding myself now just inundated with work, and I don't have anyone to help, you know. So I felt like I could have pushed my business a lot further had I brought on at least 1 or 2 people sooner. You know, like I said, I'm almost a year and a half in now, a little bit over a year and a half, but I could have been a lot further had I hired and put some more systems in place. So for me, it's kind of, you know, really focusing on the systems, kind of being more efficient with my time and trying to figure out, you know, where am I going to spend that time? Like you mentioned, their emergency is not really your emergency. And there's numerous occasions where, you know, it seems like it's urgent that it has to be taken care of right then and there, but in reality, it doesn't have to. So, you know, I think a lot of that has to deal with, you know, setting the right expectations. You know, when you talk to these, you know, to your clients to say, hey, you know, this is how this process is going to work. And if you have any, you know, questions or concerns, you know, this is how, you know, if you're doing that up front, I think it'll be a better way to go about doing it. And I haven't been doing that, which I need to be, you know, setting that expectation up front, you know, from that perspective. So, I think for me, it's going to be, and then going back to why I started, I feel like, you know, sometimes the insurance business, you're kind of up and down, you know, sometimes you're like, why am I doing this in the first place? You know, like you want to give up. My first 2 years, I probably cried a couple of times. I'm like, this is, you know, it's very hard business to get into, you know, and then, you know, then you have all these other companies that are saying, you know, get your best price, and, you know, we want to sell on value, of course. So it's a struggle, you know. So it's like, yes, I want to educate people. Yes, I want to help people. But it's like when you hone into why you really, you know, do it or did it or started in the first place, I think it definitely helps, because I need you to say that to me, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, why did I start doing insurance? You know, like, oh my goodness. But yeah, no, you know, going back to what you said, and, you know, why am I in the business? Why did I, you know, I want to help people. I want to educate people, you know, so those things really resonate with me as well. And then hiring sooner than what I did or what I am doing currently. So, yeah.
And I hear that a lot. You know, your folks are hesitant to hire because of the income stream or the expense, you know, whatever it might be. And so I love hearing the stories of, you know, gosh, if I had to go back a year, 2 years, 6 years, you know, I would have hired someone sooner. So I think that will definitely help your peers, your colleagues across the country, you know, feel better in their decision-making process, because you're right. We can't do it all as an individual. It does take a team.
Yep, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
I think Safeco is a great partnership. They are my first
Yes.
direct appointment. I think that the company helps independent agents tremendously more than any other appointment that I have. I will always be forever loyal to Safeco. All of the resources that you guys have, all of the tools that you guys have, all the marketing, all the social media stuff, all the consulting, all of that stuff, please take advantage of it. It's helped me out tremendously. There's a tool that you can go on to Safeco that you can put your website in there, and it gives you a rating as to how you're doing as far as SEO. So it kind of gives you a gauge point, you know. Casey was talking about numbers, so tracking, you know, where you're at from a visibility standpoint. So there's a wide range of tools in that Safeco site. Please take advantage of it. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, hey, thanks. I wasn't looking for a plug, but I appreciate it.
No,
Thank you.
I know, but it's
Just
so
to
much more
piggyback,
than,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, just to piggyback on what Michael said, and like, I went on and made sure that I had all of my information updated on the elite status and put the picture and everything.
Yep.
And literally the day that I did that, I had 2 people call because they were on the Safeco site. Like literally.
So from the find an agent profile?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
I would say be sure that you go on there and update your profile. Make sure that's accurate. Put a picture, because some people were like,
Yes.
I called because I saw your cute little picture.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so just be sure that you do that, because I've gotten several good, nice clients, like houses and cars clients, you know, just from that find an agent site.
Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
I think that's a really great tip, and really utilizing, you know, Safeco's tools is fantastic. You know, Safeco, in my opinion, is one of the most tech forward and progressive independent companies out there as far as technology. You guys tend to lead the pack. And I think it's something we as benefits, you know, as agents really benefit from. And I remember when I started from scratch, I from the beginning wanted to be completely virtual. I wanted to have a co-working space that I had, and I had a mailbox and a place to meet and get a conference room if I needed. And I remember, I was working and interviewing with other agencies at the time when I was building my business plan, and they thought, you really should have an office space. And I thought, I just don't think my target demographic wants to come meet with their insurance agent on their lunch break. I just don't think that's, exciting to them. And I think I can do it remotely. And so I went with my gut, and Safeco was so supportive. And, I've been 100% virtual since 2014 with that co-working space. So especially considering the times that we're currently in, and now more than ever, agencies are getting comfortable in using, cloud-based platforms, using remote working, Zoom. Clients are getting comfortable with it. If you're kind of at a point where you're thinking, wow, I could save a lot of overhead and actually have employees be more efficient, or me be more efficient by going virtual with my office, you would be surprised how little it impacts or has any decision on my clients, kind of perception of me. I still have an address, a beautiful address, but I don't have to pay the overhead for that. So I think really going forward, this pandemic has shown us to really be strong in our convictions, but also to really take a look at our expenses. And as a one-person agency, that's something that's always at top of mind for me, being a one-woman show plus a VA in Puerto Rico. So I think for agencies who are considering that, to take the leap, to do your research, and I think you'd really benefit from it if it's something that works for you.
Yeah, no, totally agree.